Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for that. I just wanted to thank my honourable colleagues for speaking for the bill. Two colleagues that are friends of firearms owners across this country and friends of hunters and anglers and that particular group that's actually quite large in our country. I wanted to especially thank the member from Medgar-Lacombe about perfectly illustrating exactly why this bill was brought forward. And it's that exact example where a firearms owner who did, in good faith, went through the renewal process of their PAL, which is a firearms license in Canada, did it 6 months prior to the expiration date, and yet still, because of the bureaucracy being slow, especially with firearms licenses in this country, the day that particular license expired, he became a criminal. And that's the way the criminal code is viewing a law-abiding person in good faith who did what they were supposed to do. And again, it perfectly illustrates why we have a need for this kind of legislation in our country. And I guess I just am disappointed that, again, from the other side, that they would go into different parts of a question, I guess, and always throw violence and different kinds of issues at firearms owners in this country. Those of us, I'm a law-abiding firearms owner. I have several firearms at my house, and I know there's a lot of people in this chamber right now that own firearms and do so lawfully. But to equate that entire group across this country, where there's millions, literally, of firearms owners, as bad people that don't obey the law and are somehow more violent and all the rest of it, is just, to me, is a stretch. And I struggle with that. And again, this is a reasonable Firearms Act change. We're trying to give firearms owners that do so legally the ability, and I call him Grandpa Joe, is what I've referred to him before in video that I've done. Last thing we want to see is Grandpa Joe go to jail simply because his firearms license didn't come in the mail in time. And that's why I did the bill, and I hope the other side actually reads the bill and understands what they're saying in their debates. Clearly by the debate, they don't know what the bill actually says, or the bill is trying to help lawful firearms owners do. And the 10-year licensing amount in terms of renewal for times is in there. It's very similar to what we have now in our passport regime in Canada, 10 years to update. But I think what is evident across the way is a lack of understanding with the continuous eligibility system in Canada, which every firearms owner gets checked every 24 hours. So if there's a flag that's put into the system, maybe somebody shouldn't own a firearm anymore because of violence or some other kind of issue, it's immediately red flagged, and the RCMP is tasked to go revoke that firearms license. We already have a system in place that takes care of this. I'm just trying to help that firearms owner from delayed bureaucracy, from not being criminalized simply because they're a firearms owner. And the example that I've used many times is, we all have licenses for vehicles, but when your license for your vehicle expires and it's sitting in your driveway, just because it expires doesn't make you a criminal. With firearms, it does. And we've heard 5 years as a minimum in jail by simply not renewing your firearms license. To me, this is exactly what this bill is trying to fix. And again, lawful firearms owners across this country have supported this bill. It's very straightforward. I just wanted to say, I'll give you one quote. My bill reflects the reality of every firearms license in Canada is reviewed every day by police. The RCMP's continuous eligibility should equate to continuous entitlement to possess firearms. Tony Bernardo of the Canadian Shooting Sports Association. So a group, one of the largest sports shooting groups across this country, knows that also supports licensing of firearms owners. We're not saying we don't want licensing for firearms owners, not at all. We're just saying that we don't want Grandpa Joe simply because, again, a bureaucracy didn't get his license back to him within 6 months. We have a sitting member of Parliament that didn't get his license in time and would have been a criminal at that particular moment in time. And to me, that's exactly what this bill is doing. And I trust that members on both sides and across the way in government would support my bill. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.